Yeah, great. We're going to jump quickly into how we did the sort of test of the Marxism working. I'm going to stop my video here, yay, and share the screen. And we are screen sharing here. And we have this data where we have state level data. We have a 2018 incarceration per 100,000. So that means 820 people per 100,000 are incarcerated in Alabama. Different levels for each state. And we have the average percent of single households over a time period. And you can see that that is the average of these percent single households over here. And then the 2020 minimum wage. And some of you asked about why are there zeros, and those are states that allow paying zero to certain classes of waiters, waitresses, etc. So assuming they'll make it up someplace else. All right, that may have changed since 2020. Some states have changed their laws, but that's all right. The data is about the same time period. And the causal variables here precede the outcome variables, so they can have something we call Granger causality. All right, so we will, and there's some other later participation variables you could look at if you want. But the first thing I said was, and what I wrote on the board was, the purpose of capitalism is to create single moms so they can exploit them with low wages in the labor market. So we are going to select C and D here. We are going to insert. And we're going to choose this, which is a scatter plot. And I'm going to modify the axis and make it 0.15 to 0.48. And I'm doing that to accentuate this and also not to have a lot of white space. The next thing I'm going to do is right click on one of the dots and go to add trend line. And we see that that goes down. We'd like to add an equation to that, which we will. And this is our regression equation. And what this means is for every, since these are in percentiles, for every 1% increase in the proportion of single parent households, you end up with a 29.5 decline in the average dollars per hour. That's pretty brutal. All right, so and that's a strong relationship, only explains about 20% of the variation in that in the relationship here. So again, we can change that just a little bit. We'll make it a solid line, and I'll make it red, the great red menace, capitalism eating its own people. And so here we go. This should show you how we did that graph. Now I'm going to do the other two graphs to show you some just quick ways to get through stuff since folks were having a hard time. I'll show you two different ways. One way is you can select this. Now what this is, my X here is C, right? And it's got C2 to C51 and D2 to D51. I would like that to be B2 to B51. And everything disappears, right? And the reason for that is I now need to go change my axis again. And I reset these, I click these two resets, so it gives me 0 to 1200. I'm going to take that as 200 to 1200. And there we go. We see that that this is a strong downward trend. All right, and that was that was what we expected to see, and we see that this relationship between minimum wage and incarceration is very, very strong. So this the claim, the Marxist claim that incarceration leads to lower rates, one, because prisoners compete out there in that market in many states at next to zero wage rates, and also that, as I said before, it creates those single parent households willing to work for very, very little. I also made the claim, the Marxist claim, that incarceration is a way to lead to single family households, therefore stressed households, and women who can therefore be oppressed. And I'm going to show you one more technique here. We are going to select all of these, and we are going to insert the B, C, and D. We are going to insert a scatter plot there. And we see that in this case, we have the minimum wage, but I really want it against the average household. So I'm going to just click those, hit a delete, and now we get this nice upward trend. And I'm going to fix that again. So at 0.15, and now we can right click, add our trend line, and display the equation in the R square, and we see an even higher, slightly lower fit there, sorry. But we see still see a very strong relationship between the incarceration rate and the percent single households. So when you incarcerate people, you end up with single households. So single households lead to lower wages, and you end up with a massive cycle of oppression. Somebody also asked, what constitutional amendment allows incarcerated people to be used as slaves? And it's the 13th. And I'm going to stop my share here and stop the recording, and we're good.